let's say a little more about the implications of our being able to engineer new conscious experiences, exploring experiences that no human being has ever had before. One interesting implication for me here is that the moment you begin talking about changing the human mind, now whether this is, changing the brain directly or changing it by virtue of its integration with technology or new, far more targeted drugs than anything that exists, you're talking about an ability to change human intuitions about value. You could change our sense of good and evil. You could change our desire for certain experiences. If you don't like escargot, I could give you the right neural implant that would cause you to like it. And then you have to ask yourself, do you want to be the kind of person who likes escargot, right? And so you get this loss of foundation where, all of our values are now no longer anchored to anything that evolution has prepared for us. I mean, we're no longer just apes who are disgusted by predictable things. We can change our likes and our disgusts. And then the question is, what should we do given that power? Many people worry that this would mean that therefore all truth and all value would be purely relative there. But from my point of view, that's not the case. You can still ask the further question whether changing our sense of right and wrong or good and evil on a certain point is itself good, which is to say, is it moving toward better, more sublime, more durable, more creative, more beautiful conscious states, or is it moving elsewhere?
I think that the first and basic realization that is part of what you're saying is that there is an entire ocean of consciousness, of potential conscious mental states out there that we know nothing about,
Hmm.
which was a very common understanding in many, if not most, cultures in history, but which disappeared from modern Western culture. In modern Western culture, the assumption is that the mental experiences of the average person is basically all there is and all there ever will be, or it's the apex of reality, of the potential. And to the degree that even the most obvious extensions, animal consciousness has been denied. No, animals don't have consciousness, they don't have minds. You only have basically one tiny island of consciousness, which is the mental states of modern people. And this is probably nonsense. I mean, the universe, just as it would be ridiculous to say that the only possible configuration of matter is the human body, it is ridiculous to say that the only possible configuration of mind is the mind of middle class Americans in the early 21st century. But this is basically what we have been saying for quite a long time. And there is an entire ocean of consciousness, of mental states out there that we know nothing about. Some of them have existed before in other animals, but many of them never existing in any animal, but they are still part of the possible spectrum of mental states.
Right.
And it is likely that in the coming decades or centuries, we will start exploring this ocean of consciousness like the European discoverers in the 14th and 15th centuries that are starting to explore the oceans of planet Earth.
Just to clarify there, you're not claiming that these conscious states or that this mind exists already and that we will somehow unite with it. You're claiming that there is a larger set of possible conscious experience that
Yes,
we can
if you think
navigate in, given the requisite changes to our minds.
exactly, if you think about, I don't know, the evolution from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens,
Yeah.
then we assume Homo sapiens has all kinds of mental experiences which no Homo erectus ever had. And maybe it's because we have a different brain structure, maybe it's because of the interaction between brain structure and culture. For whatever reason, still we assume that once in the age of Homo erectus, many of the mental experiences we have today didn't exist, but they were part of the potential spectrum of mind. And eventually they were realized
Mm.
through the evolution of Homo sapiens. And in a similar way, looking to the future, there might be all kinds of other mental states out there, never realized before by any organism, but that could be realized either by some other kind of organism, like a superhuman or whatever, or maybe by a cyborg or by a non organic being. This is also a possibility. Now, of course, you have the question of value, whether one mental state is better than another mental state. And I think that the obvious answer is yes. We all the time make evaluations of comparing different mental states. I mean, what we do throughout our lives is to pursue some mental states and run away from others. Again, we think we are pursuing objectives in the outside world, like we want a lot of money, we want a good job, we want to find love. But all these things at bottom, they are particular mental states that we prefer to other mental states.
Yeah.